Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. We always try to go deep on these shows to make sure you're getting the most out of your retirement planning, especially when it comes to gold.
Yeah, and today is no exception. You've sent us some really interesting stuff on using private placement life insurance, PPLI for short, and how it can work with a gold IRA to give your retirement some extra muscle.
Now, I know PPLI can get pretty complicated, so before we get too deep into that, maybe a quick refresher for our listeners on what makes gold IRAs so valuable for retirement.
Sure. A gold IRA basically lets you have physical gold, like
Mm.
actual coins or bars, as part of your retirement savings. It's a way to branch out from the usual stocks and bonds you see in most portfolios.
Right. And diversification is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But why is it especially important as you get closer to retirement?
Well, when you retire, you want that nest egg to stay safe and hopefully even keep growing. But the market, it can be a bit unpredictable. And
Yeah.
then you have inflation eating away at your buying power. Gold has this history of holding its value really well. It's kind of like a shield against inflation and those market ups and downs.
So it's almost like an insurance policy for your retirement savings, protecting you from those economic storms.
Exactly. And don't forget the tax advantages. Just like traditional IRAs, your investments in a gold IRA grow tax deferred. So you don't owe taxes on those gains until you actually start taking money out in retirement. That lets your wealth potentially grow faster, giving you a bigger nest egg to enjoy later on.
Makes sense. Gold sounds like a smart move for anyone who's looking for that long-term stability in retirement.
It definitely can be. Now let's add PPLI to the mix. It's a type of life insurance, but it's made for people with a high net worth who want more flexibility and control over their investments.
Uh-huh. So more control and flexibility sounds like just what someone planning for retirement would want, especially if they're also looking to maybe lower their tax burden. But I'm curious, how does a life insurance policy even connect to a gold IRA?
One of the cool things about PPLI is that it can hold alternative assets, like real estate, private equity, and yes, you guessed it, gold.
Wait, so you're saying I could actually hold physical gold inside a life insurance policy?
Absolutely. And that opens up some really interesting possibilities, especially when you start thinking about estate planning and leaving a legacy for your family.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, right? So if you're serious about building a retirement plan with gold at the center, go to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive and download our free checklist. Let me give you those details again later. But for now, back to PPLI. How does that fit into the whole legacy planning idea? It seems like a pretty unique approach.
It is. When you set up a PPLI policy the right way and include gold in its investment portfolio, it can have some serious benefits when it comes to passing wealth onto your heirs.
Like what?
Broad.
Give me some examples.
Well, for one, the death benefit from a PPLI policy can be pretty big because of the potential for growth inside the policy. And the best part is, it can often be passed on to your beneficiaries completely tax-free. That can save your heirs a ton of money in estate taxes, making sure more of your hard-earned wealth stays with your family.
That's a huge deal, especially for someone who's worked their whole life to build up their savings and wants to make sure their loved ones are taken care of.
Exactly. And remember, those gold holdings within the PPLI policy, they also get that tax-deferred growth we talked about. So you got like double the tax efficiency, which can really boost your wealth, both for your own retirement and for your legacy.
Okay, now I'm starting to get it. A gold IRA and a PPLI policy. They seem like separate things, but they can actually work together to create a really powerful strategy for building wealth, optimizing taxes, and planning your estate.
It's all about being strategic and using the right tools to reach your financial goals. And that's what this deep dive is all about, giving you the knowledge to make smart decisions about your future.
Love it. Let's keep going.
So yeah, this combo of a gold IRA and PPLI, it can be a real win-win. But it's important to really get what makes each one tick and how they're different. You mentioned control and flexibility earlier, and that's where things get interesting.
Right. We've talked about why holding physical gold is good, but how does that actually work in a gold IRA? Are there rules I need to know about?
You bet. The IRS has some specific rules about the kind of gold you can have in a gold IRA. It has to meet certain purity standards. Basically, it needs to be investment-grade bullion or certain approved coins. You can't just throw in any old gold jewelry or something.
So there's some quality control to make sure it's the real deal. What about storing the gold? Where does that happen?
That's another important piece of the puzzle. You have to pick a custodian, basically, a company that will store your gold for you securely.
So no stashing gold bars under the mattress. I guess that's for the best.
Probably a good idea. These custodians are pros at handling precious metals and keeping them safe. They operate out of these super secure insured facilities, so your investment is well protected.
Okay, so gold IRAs have some logistics to think about, but It sounds like the custodian takes care of all that. What about PPLI? It seems like there's way more flexibility there when it comes to investments.
You got it. A gold IRA is all about physical gold and maybe other precious metals, but PPLI is a wider net. You mentioned real estate and private equity, and that's just the start. You can also look at commodities, hedge funds, even international investments, all within the policy.
So if you're comfortable with a bit more risk and want to spread your investments beyond just precious metals, PPLI gives you that wider range of choices.
Exactly. It lets you customize your investment plan to match your risk tolerance and what you want to achieve. And remember all those tax benefits we talked about before. The tax-deferred growth and the tax-free death benefit, those apply to all the investments in the policy, not just the gold.
Okay, now I'm seeing how someone might choose one over the other, or even use both. If you're really into gold as a long-term way to hedge against inflation, a gold IRA lets you go all in on that. Yeah. But if you want to spread things out more and maybe get into more complex investment strategies, then PPLI could be the better choice.
Exactly. And for those with a bigger net worth, combining the two can be super powerful. You could use a gold IRA to build a strong base of physical gold in your retirement plan, and then use PPLI to diversify even more and take advantage of those awesome tax benefits.
It's like a double whammy for building wealth and planning your legacy. And speaking of legacy planning, we talked about how PPLI helps with taxes, but can you tell me more about how it minimizes estate taxes? I think a lot of retirees are worried about making sure their wealth goes to their heirs without a big chunk going to the government.
I hear you. Estate taxes can really eat into an inheritance, but a well-structured PPLI policy can act like a shield, potentially letting a good chunk, if not all of your wealth, go to your beneficiaries without getting hit by those taxes.
How does that actually work?
It's about how the death benefit is treated under the tax laws. Unlike your regular assets, which might be part of your taxable estate, the death benefit from a PPLI policy is often exempt from estate taxes, meaning your heirs get the full value of the death benefit, including any growth it had, without a massive tax bill.
Wow, that's a huge advantage,
Yeah.
especially if you have a large estate and you want your family to benefit fully from your hard work and savings.
For sure. And don't underestimate the peace of mind that comes with knowing your loved ones will be taken care of even after you're gone.
That peace of mind is priceless.
Yeah,
It's not just about the money, it's about knowing you've left behind financial security for the people you love.
exactly. It's about building a legacy that lasts.
This conversation has been so helpful for anyone who's trying to figure out how to manage their wealth and protect their financial future. But I bet it can also feel a bit overwhelming. There's a lot to take in.
You're not wrong. These are complicated financial tools, and having the right guidance is key.
That's where our free checklist comes in. If you want to explore how a gold IRA can help you reach your retirement goals, go to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive and download it. It's full of tips to help you pick the right gold IRA company for you.
It's a fantastic resource to get started on the road to a more secure and comfortable retirement.
Let's dive back into the details now. We've covered the basics of PPLI, but I want to know how it works practically. How do you actually set up a PPLI policy, and what should you keep in mind?
That's a great question. And that's where working with a financial advisor who really knows their stuff is super important. Setting up a PPLI policy isn't something you just do yourself. It involves looking closely at your financial goals, how much risk you're comfortable with, and your estate planning goals.
So it's not as easy as just calling up an insurance company and say, hey, I want one of those PPLI things.
Not quite. A good financial advisor who specializes in PPLI can help you navigate all the tricky parts, make sure the policy is set up right to meet your goals, and guide you through the whole process.
It's like having a financial architect who designs a custom plan for your wealth building and legacy planning journey. Makes sense.
It's a really valuable partnership. They can help you understand all the ins and outs of PPLI, compare different policies, and make sure everything's legal and above board with the taxman.
Okay, so we've established that expert advice is crucial when it comes to PPLI. But what about gold IRAs? Is it as simple as opening a regular IRA, or are there special steps involved?
Yeah, with a gold IRA, there are a few more steps compared to a regular IRA. First, you got to choose a custodian, like we talked about. They're the ones who handle storing and managing your gold.
Right, the custodian makes sure your gold is safe and sound. What else should you think about when picking one?
Well, their reputation and experience are super important. You want a custodian with a proven track record, strong security measures, and they got to be transparent about how they do things.
Transparency is key, especially when we're talking about something as valuable as gold. What other things might someone consider when choosing a custodian?
Fees definitely matter. Custodians have different ways of charging for storage administration and transactions. You want to compare those carefully and pick a custodian whose fees fit your budget and investment style.
So it's not about finding the cheapest option, but the one that gives you the best bang for your buck. What about actually buying the gold? Does the custodian handle that too?
A lot of custodians have connections with trustworthy precious metals dealers, so they can help you buy gold directly. They can walk you through the different types of gold. You can get like bullion coins, even gold ETFs, and help you choose the best options for your IRA.
So the custodian is like a one-stop shop for your gold IRA. They handle buying, storing the gold, taking care of paperwork, and making sure everything follows IRS rules.
That's the idea. Their expertise can make the whole process way easier, especially if you're new to investing in gold.
This has been really helpful in understanding how to set up both a gold IRA and PPLI policy. But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We've covered a lot today, so I want to make sure our listeners are clear on the main benefits of these strategies.
For sure. When you get down to it, both gold IRAs and PPLI have unique advantages for retirees who want to protect their wealth, maybe lower their taxes, and leave a lasting legacy for their families.
Let's break it down. Starting with gold IRAs, what are the big benefits that really matter for retirees?
Gold IRAs are all about diversification and stability. When you add physical gold to your retirement portfolio, you're spreading things out beyond just the stock market. That can help lower your risk and protect your savings from those market swings.
Which is especially important when the economy is uncertain and the stock market is going up and down. Gold has always been good at holding its value. It's like a safe haven for your money.
Exactly. It gives you that feeling of security knowing that some of your retirement savings is backed by something real with real value.
And we can't forget about the tax advantages of a gold IRA. That tax-deferred growth means your investments could grow faster over time.
Right. And when you retire and start taking money out, those withdrawals are taxed just like a regular IRA.
So gold IRAs offer diversification, stability, and tax benefits. What about PPLI? What makes it attractive for people with a high net worth?
PPLI is all about flexibility, tax advantages, and estate planning. It lets you invest in a bunch of different things, including gold, so you can tailor your plan to your risk tolerance and financial goals.
And those tax advantages are pretty sweet. That potential for tax-deferred growth within the policy, plus the possibility of a tax-free death benefit. That can be a powerful way to build wealth, both for your retirement and for your legacy.
Absolutely. And for estate planning, PPLI can be a real game changer. You can pass on a big death benefit to your beneficiaries, often tax-free, which can really lower their estate tax burden and make sure more of your wealth stays with your family.
It's like creating a financial safety net for your loved ones, protecting them even when you're not around anymore.
That's a good way to put it. It's about building a legacy that lasts.
This has been so insightful, and I think it shows how important it is to be strategic with retirement planning. It's not just about saving money. It's about protecting what you've earned, growing your wealth, and making sure your loved ones are taken care of.
Totally agree. And while gold IRAs and PPLI can be super helpful tools, it's important to remember they're not a magic solution for everyone.
True. Every person's financial situation is different. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. That's why talking to a qualified financial advisor is so important. They can help you figure out if these strategies are right for you based on your needs goals and how much risk you're comfortable with.
It's like having a trusted guide on your financial journey, someone to help you through the tough parts and make smart choices. Speaking of smart choices, we want to give you the resources to explore these strategies even more.
Absolutely. Head over to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive and grab our free checklist. It's packed with info to help you choose the perfect gold IRA company and start building a solid retirement plan.
It's the perfect first step toward a more secure and prosperous future. We've covered a lot today. But remember, this is just the start of your journey. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep taking steps to create the retirement you've always dreamed of.
And as you go, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or need some guidance. We're here to help you every step of the way.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into gold IRAs and PPLI. We hope you found it as valuable as we have. Until next time, happy investing.